Hello. I'm in a constant, battle's not the right word, but constant, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, like, development of wanting to move forward. Does that even make sense? Or, like, growth. Like, I feel like I'm constantly growing at the moment, and so I just thought, and I know at least one of my friends who does message me after she normally listens to this can maybe tell me, because she's known me since I was, I don't even know, 16, 15, maybe 16, maybe, I'm not sure. Anyways, my kind of thought was, so I had to go on a little bit of a break of the Unexpecting podcast from Tara Lipinski. I love it that my friend here, who I work with, is trying to like understand that journey a little bit. And it gets her like understanding me a little bit more by watching. Obviously, like that story is different than mine, but some of the things that Tara says are very similar to like how I was feeling, or like make note of what I was feeling. So the thing that she kind of was just saying, so I'm just finished episode 13, so I watched 12 and 13 tonight. I watched 11 yesterday, I think. And the thing that she was talking about was how fertility has kind of made it so that, like, you're scared shitless of going into doctor's appointments. You've got PTSD for doctor's appointments, but you're also got PTSD, like you're always waiting for bad news, for like the other shoe to drop. I feel like to a certain extent with my life, that is kind of the way that I have seen life. You can tell me if this is true or not. You know who I'm talking about. But I don't know if it's at the height of what it is now. And it makes so much more sense to me that this is probably spans from fertility, and like always the negative appointments and stuff. And I have been like scared and not really wanting to go to the doctors since I ended up in a hospital when I was 9 for a bladder infection and was hospitalized for an entire month. That has kind of given me PTSD to going to the doctors, especially when I have something wrong, and it freaks me out. But I definitely think like I'm way more anxious about it now on this side of fertility as well. Because, you know, those of you who have been watching this for ages, but some of you guys have only just joined. And I've suffered from infertility, unexplained infertility, which could be explained. It was interesting. She was talking about how she's always talking about all these tests that I wish I could have done. But like tests that was, I mean, I never ever got a positive. I never got to see that pink line. I quite often joke that I probably can't even get COVID because, you know, I've never got a positive of anything in my life. When it comes to those things, obviously, not in general. Like, I'm very blessed and I know that. Yeah, it's just interesting that she kind of said that, and he agreed with that as well, her partner. And it was just like, does that spun from that? And then I'm thinking to myself, like, how do you work through that? Like, how do you work through the PTSD of like always expecting the negative? Because I 100% feel like I do that because let's just be honest, from 2009 to 2017, and really in the 2012, probably 10 to end of 2013, 10 to 13, so those 3 years were like the bulk of our infertility of the 6 replacements, none of them working, and the waiting games and all that kind of stuff. Like, the bulk of it was in those first few years. But then there was like moving on to a home for life and adoption for a couple of years of bouncing back and forth, and the possibility and the not possibility. So, and then like stopping that in 2017, putting it to rest in like around June, breaking up in October, and then literally was on the bandwagon of trying to do it by myself 3 years later, because I was trying to discover whether I could do this on my own, and still unexplained anything. I didn't exactly do it the same. I did IUI instead of ICSI. So I tried to use my natural cycle. Whether that was a good idea or not, I have no idea. But yeah, not successful. And so the thing that she found out is that her and her partner, genetically, their genes did not mix. And you're like, ugh, could something of that have been a part of it? Now, obviously, I didn't get any positives like she did. But yeah, there are all these things that you question by watching this, and it's fascinating, and there's so many things that I'm so thankful for. I know that in a few episodes down the line, she's going to talk about, again, scammers and adoption. Again, this person was scammed 3 times. I haven't heard all of her story yet, just bits of that. And then obviously I watch a podcast where somebody else has got scammed. So it's crazy, and there was a point where she said today that, like, in her podcast that I was watching, like, how they, like, always envisioned, like, it was happening for everybody else, but it never happened for them. Like, it was always a negative. And how when it did finally happen, like, the magic was out of it. And I'm really, really, really hoping that when it comes down to that, I still will be able to have magic. And I won't have PTSD to that extent, because I haven't gone through some of it. But yeah, I'm just pondering, like, you just don't know how. I can't really see how fertility has changed me, because I haven't looked back on my diaries from that time. And I think about doing it. I had a podcast. I had a blog, and I have thought about trying to find that blog and going back and trying to, like, read those and see how I was feeling and stuff. But I almost feel like it's still too raw, and like it will be raw until I can get a baby. I mean, do I wish that I had an embryo that I could then put into a surrogate? Not that I have the money for a surrogate. I was just looking it up. It's between $35,000 and $45,000 US dollars here in New Zealand. Why is it in US dollars? I have no idea. Because the weird thing is, like, in America, it's like 110 or whatever, which would probably be around 60 to 70,000. But, like, New Zealand. But in America, you pay your surrogate. You're not allowed to pay your surrogate here. Like, it's just crazy that yeah, it's just crazy that someone who carried your baby doesn't get any compensation. You're not allowed to really give them any compensation. Anyways, that's beside this point. But yeah, so I'm just pondering, like, how do you work through not wanting the shoe to drop? Like, not always looking for the bad. Is that just like, whenever the bad comes up, always putting a spin on it to like gratitude or blessings, or like looking at more of like how far you've come than what you don't have? Or yeah, I don't know. If anybody like has some tips or whatever, please comment and put them down. But yeah, I really enjoy the podcast. I know I've struggled sometimes to listen to it because I know she's getting a baby and the baby's in the podcast. And look, I'm just going to be honest. Green eye envy, of something that I really want is just there. And it's not like that I'm not happy for her, like she said before. It's just hard to see somebody else like get what you so desperately want. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it because that's the way that I feel and the way that it is. And it's not that I'm not happy. I mean, far out, my friend will probably tell you that I'm driving her absolutely freaking mental right now because I'm like hounding her after every appointment to make sure that she's okay, her and her baby are okay. I've like gone and did this big elaborate like gift basket for her, and like I've told her like I would help take care of him and stuff if she needs me to. Like, I'm up the street, like I'm there, and she's like, yeah, like I'll be asking you stuff, like I've got that friendship with her. And it's going to be hard. And I'm going to be able to go in and just like pick up her baby and like love on him. But I've also said to her, like, I might not be able to. I mean, I was able to love on Zara pretty much right away, but it did take me about, I would say about an hour or two before I could actually hold her. And then it took me a little bit, like I was forcing myself to do it. And it took me probably about like the 5th or 6th time of doing it in the space of a few weeks or whatever, or like a couple months, for me to actually like want to take her, like, yes, give her to me kind of deal. I will gladly take her. And I'm so grateful that I got to that moment because I just love her. But yeah, I mean, the same thing could happen with my next friend's baby. I just have no idea how anything is going to go or how I'm going to feel or whatever. But I just think Tara Lipinski does, in her Unexplained podcast, does such a great job at like just putting into words how someone feels. And I love that Todd is in there as well, so I can try to grasp what it would have been like for Sam, to just understand that a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm interested to see where the podcast goes, because it's actually already been different than I thought it was going to be once they had their baby. Like, obviously, like having people come in and talk about stuff, like the adoption scammers or whatever, that like all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm excited that they're sharing how the struggle is just ongoing even when they've got their baby, I guess, to say, if that makes sense. Anyways, I've just straightened my hair and picked out my outfit for going to the unveiling tomorrow. So I've got to get up early and do my makeup, so that is done, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I will go up to the cemetery for 4 to 5, and then my friend's coming, I think, for dinner and a sleepover. Yep. still doing those. She wants a girls' night, so we'll probably go on a walk. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of tell you where I was thinking after just watching that thing. And eventually, if I do go through my journals, I have said that I might do that eventually, because I've got all of them, and there's literally a slew of them. I've been around 40 years, and I am sure I did not start these journals till I was like 12 or 13, and I am sure that there's almost as many journals as me. There is at least 30, if not more. So yeah, it is crazy. But yeah, anyways, have a good weekend, because it is almost the weekend. Tomorrow is Friday for me. I'm so stoked to have a weekend. I cannot for the life of me believe that it is cannot for the life of me believe that it is less than a week till Christmas. Like, how does that even happen? This year has literally been crazy. But yeah, I'm excited for the new year and the possibilities and everything that happens. But until then, I am going to sit back and try really hard to enjoy the time that I have right here, right now, and be present. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.